Hi, it's Widu. Welcome back to my cosplay workshop. It's a new year, even though it's March. It's a new year, new direction for my cosplays. This year, my cosplays will be inspired by the music and feelings of the games and animes that I like, and not just the characters themselves. And I'm going to try achieve that by adding movement to these cosplays through figure skating, which I've been learning over the past few years. So, this year, my first project was actually a skating program based on Final Fantasy XVI, especially when, spoiler alert, our dear brother Joshua dies. The goal is to create a look based on Joshua, and then skate a program for video as Joshua's character. I'm very excited to say the costume is already done, and the skate program is in its final touches. So in this video, I want to show you my journey so far to becoming a flaming bird twink. From the making of the costume, to making of the skate program, to the practice all the way up to leading skating the programs in competition. Oh yes, I entered not one, but 2 adult figure skating competitions to prepare myself for this project. So if this sounds interesting to you, please help my channel out by interacting with a comment, like, and subscribe. It would really help out my goal to finally stop neglecting my video content and finally grow this channel. Since I'm skating to Joshua's death scene, the music is the track Faith from the Final Fantasy XVI OST, which plays as he entrusts his phoenix powers to Clive. The design of my costume is going to be based on Joshua's costume, except with phoenix feathers and flames coming out, making his clothes burn away and scatter like petals down his body. First things first, choreo practice, because I can't make a skate program if I can't skate. Next, I start the costume by making a super sexy mesh shirt that's gonna be the base. After that, I made an abomination, which is supposed to resemble Joshua's tunic. This eventually gets shredded, so don't worry about how horrible it looks right now. Having said that, even I didn't trust the process at one point, so back to practice. This year as a skater, I wanted to challenge myself in competition and attempt 2 axles in my program, with one being in combination. So you can see I yeeted myself a lot in practice. Once I got confident enough with my skating and how it fit with the music that I had trimmed, I went ahead and registered myself into 2 regional figure skating competitions that happened to be in the very start of the year. Competing and winning was never really the goal of entering the competitions, but more to get experience in skating the program in front of people, all the way through, in costume, and all in one go. Competitions are a great way to do that. Back to the costume for a bit, the shredding begins. So all I did was draw my design onto the fabric, cut the shit out of it, and then in true Phoenix fashion, set it on fire. And then repeat till cry. Once I made myself enough burnt petal shreds, I tacked them onto the costume with fabric glue, and then hand stitched each one to secure them. Repeat till cry. This honestly took me quite a while because parts way through, I decided to take a lighter to each of the petals and use the heat to melt some of the plastic content in the fabric, which allowed me to shape each of the petals. This was not in my original plans, but I'm so glad I did it because now everything just pops a little bit more. Back to practice. Around this stage of the project, I was really struggling on the ice, and that's because there's not long until competition, and I'm a cosplayer. So, of course I've left my costume a little bit too late, so I was having to start pulling all-nighters on that costume, which means I would turn up to practice literally walking dead. Back home, the suffering continues. The costume is now looking nice, which means it was time to add those phoenix feathers, which I decided to do by hand with a lovely gold vinyl fabric. I made a whole batch of these goddamn feathers, all different sizes and lengths. Then I played with the positioning of them on the costume over and over until I was happy with how it looked. Then finally, it was time to tack these on, hand sew them into the costume, and then add the finishing touch, which is to stone the entire thing to hell. Once the costume was done, it was time for dress run-throughs. Sadly, one of the hurdles being an adult skater is that it's very hard to find rehearsal ice, so rehearsals are usually done while watching the traffic, which psychs me out as soon as the music starts playing. But luckily, the local adult skating regulars are super supportive, and I got a good run during a lucky quiet session. Competition time! The first competition was Vancouver Island Regionals. For this event, I peer pressured my skatey friends for a road trip and a boat trip. Meet Thomas, Anna, and Callum. Poor Thomas even got peer pressured into competing with me. So apparently, it's exceedingly rare to see any solo men in local competition, let alone 2 men at a time. Therefore, it could be said that thanks to me, Thomas and I became an exciting surprise and rivalry that excited the locals. We both skated really well, and I personally think I skated the best I'd skated in a long time, and my program was on its way to scoring my personal best. And then, in a bizarre turn of events, my trusty hydroblade move failed me for the first time in years. At our level, the choreo sequence is a super expensive element. And with both of us skating well otherwise, it meant Thomas won gold. God damn it, I invited him and he beat me. Jokes aside, it was a very well-deserved gold for Thomas, and we got this adorable medal ceremony, as well as these hot pictures. Damn, I look like a bitch. Overall, I was really happy with myself. The one big mistake that I had was something that never happens. So I wasn't worried about my condition, and it felt like a step closer to the goal of the project, which is to video this program with an on-ice camera fully in Joshua's character. Time skip to the second competition, and that was the West Coast Challenger. It was the week immediately after. Sadly, nobody could join me this week, but Kieran, who you might remember from past videos, came as my hungover skate mum. My goal coming into the second week was to improve on my performance from last week since it was so close to my best. Unfortunately, I think something psyched me out on the day. It didn't go as smoothly this time. My jumps weren't as stable as I liked, and I even forgot a part of my program. However, I think it's important to take the wins from this performance as well. I skated really fast, I felt really powerful, and my spins were actually very nice. So although my performance was a little bit disappointing, I wasn't exactly disappointed at my effort. And I can take those things I've learned and try to apply it when I film that final Cosplay on Ice video with Project Joshua. Immediately after this, it was Fan Expo Vancouver, where I tried wearing the complete look with Joshua's wig and lenses, and I was really happy with how that looked. So, ta-da! That is Project Cosplay on Ice Joshua Edition so far. I'm truly having so much fun with this project so far, which makes me really glad because I was so burnt out last year. I really think this is the direction I want to take more of my cosplays during this year. So, finally, I'm going to leave you with my uninterrupted performances from the 2 competitions. Please enjoy, leave me a comment, hopefully a like, and a subscribe. and I'll see you in another video real soon.